Hey, how's it going?
Oh, how's it going?
Oh, pretty good, you?
Good.
Hold on one second. Let me pause the record. Oh, a minute. Let me pause the record. I'm gonna start the recording here. And let me re-explain that. Here we go. So the idea is you're here in your stance. We've been working to start weight shifting, basic weight shifting. You're gonna crash into them. You crash into you, move it out. Crash in, kind of brace, and first you kind of meet them first. Push back, and then when they go through, it's this way. So just that. And, see, I have a timer actually. All right, ready? And time. Let me keep the window there. Shift your weight. Crash in. And we'll add more as we go along. Crash. Make sure when you crash in, make sure the back leg is braced. And just like if you're really crashing into something. So work that back leg. Crash. Make sure the front foot's pigeon-toed, otherwise you have to deal with this thing about shifting the foot, which can be awkward. You want that part way done already. Here we do a couple of them, kind of crash. That's actually when this kind of technique works too. Sometimes when they first crash into you, you kind of bounce them away. So then they're expecting you to do that, and that's when these pivots really work, when they're really pushing through. So now you're gonna add a little bit more. We're gonna pivot, but now when we pivot, do the same move. But when we pivot, we're gonna let our weight rock back a little bit, wind up the back leg, and come back. Crash, pivot, wind up, come back. You can also just think of it this way. Just worry about the crash, roll back. And this part's easy. You just get this side out the way. Crash, roll back. Try starting from the starting position here. And don't use much energy in the hands. It's all here. Crash, do it, turn. Right, this last part is very little. Just kind of go grab. Don't release your shoulders. Crash, do it. Crash, pivot. When you pivot, so you're doing this, you crash, and then of course you're putting your weight here, even though you're braced here, your weight this on this side. But you pivot, and then you rock back. And it doesn't have to be a big move on the rock back part. Like you crash, pivot. It doesn't really have to be a big move. You just shift, turn, shift back. Anyway, so now I want to go on the other side. We're gonna crash. And when you crash, remember this. Remember that back leg each time, just like you're pushing a wall or a car. You want to have a back leg engaged when you first crash, so it's realistic. Because it's all about having that brace, and then suddenly shifting to having instead of going off of this side, right? Only now we're going the other way. So it's going to be crash. Or actually, just do the pivot first, no, not the other one. Crash, pivot. Actually, I did that wrong. Crash. Right here. Should have the back leg brace. Oh, let's start time. All right. 3 minutes. Brace. Pivot. Actually, don't have to punch yet. Sorry. Just pivot. Yeah, just do the first pivot. Don't worry about the turn. Yeah. Then now, after that, you add a little turn there. Pivot. But here it's actually easier because you stay in the front leg. When you go to this side, you got to rock back, right? On this side, you just stay here. So it's way easier to do, right? Well, 1 minute. You're able to try to use your waist like a steering wheel. Because we use the whole waist. You don't want a short movement. You want a long movement. A long movement. So you go. Right? Instead of just cutting it short, which you can if you have to for a certain reason, but otherwise try to use the whole waist. Let's add some more to it. So let's stay with some of those moves, but let's keep them real kind of slow, so that you're using the whole using the waist the whole time, or having it like kind of. You see, it says the waist is engaged the whole time, I should say. So the hips, the shoulders and the hips are relaxed, but of course the legs are always winding up or unwinding, right? Winding up here, unwinding, winding up here, and unwinding. And then the waist is. It's not really my arms doing it. I'm just relaxing the arms here, kind of pulling the energy to the back a little bit. I'm gonna have the hands up, but either way, it's the energy's back here. And the shoulders loose. The same thing we're talking about where you're doing. Yeah, let's do a round of that. So the same thing we're talking about where you, when we're doing a round where you just drop the shoulders the whole time. The same, and do the same idea except for as we're doing this. And you just do it every time you get to one side or the other. It's not necessarily doing this. It doesn't look like that, but it's the same thing. So. Difference is now we're going to do it with the hands up. All right. So one round of that, because then we want to kind of put that into the rest of the workout. This idea. Idea of dropping the shoulder. So. It changes it a little bit where you're putting kind of this idea when you're walking, right? One side's always dropped, right? Once you walk this way, one side's always dropped when you're walking, right? The same idea. One side's kind of just letting one side drop. It's just subtle. Or it looks a lot more subtle. It's slow. If you're doing this. It should have the same feel in the shoulders. That way you can let your punch go all the way because it's just so you don't get the punch doesn't get blocked up in the shoulders. It just works the reverse part of it right now. We're coming back. Let me switch the screens here. Actually, he did some kind of microphone thing. Done speaking. Hold on, I don't know what I did. Safe driving mode. Oh.
Yeah, you don't need safe driving mode. Uh-oh, now you're on mute.
Okay, you can hear me, but I'm there's gotta be somebody.
There you go.
I can see you.
No, we can see you now.
Okay. I don't know what the hell I did. There we go. I was looking for that. I was looking for the thing with 3 windows. It's hard to control the windows on my phone. There we go. I better. Did that part make sense?
Yep.
The dropping the shoulder part? you kind of, as you drop the shoulder, you can use that to wind the leg up. It's kind of weird because you're mixing like a relaxing and loosening with winding up and getting power at the same time. So it's kind of weird, you know, but you get a lot of power that way. So let's mix those up a little. So let's do the same thing we're doing. Crash, but you can go either way. Crash in, you can go, you can pivot here, or crash, pivot this way. Either way. Crash, pivot. And when you work that, try to work like a like you're checking them or something. Kind of getting behind them. Not necessarily a strike, but just kind of getting behind them. So like they're crashing in this way. When you turn, well, first you just pivot, but then when you turn here, you can kind of get behind them. So if they walk through, you pivot around to the side. So when you turn, you're doing this. Otherwise, they can just go and pivot back and hit you, right? So you want to take advantage where you kind of check them in place, back of the arm. Or if you're going the other way, it's the same thing. It's check, and you would go this way. Well, pivot, turn. Well, actually, I'm sorry, the other way. Pivot this way. You just pivot, and then you go here. Get it behind them. Check them this way. That makes sense? Cool. So yeah, let's work that, but yeah, focus on that part though. So pivot, make sure you focus on having them checked. And then that's a perfect position to hit them. If you're having them checked, you're also all the way wound up, right? So you just have to barely move for it to get all your power out. Of course, if you do a big move, you get harder, but you get plenty hard just right here. If you're all the way wound up, like instead of being here, you're here. So just work real short ones. It's almost like turn your hip and grab. That's all you really have to do. You don't have to hit that hard when you're in that position. All right. So does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay. All right, time. And you can just crash in a few times to set it up. The back leg brace. Make sure to put it to do one at a time and then put it together. So brace, pivot, then check. There you go. So that makes it a longer move, right? So you're using the weights the whole way. You can kind of pivot, and then check. Pivot, then check. Try to keep your hands here, either here with the elbows in, or you go out to. Remember, when you do these, you can always, when you fold under like that, whenever you fold under, there's always, you can always do a straight right, but you can always have the potential for an uppercut from there. Same thing in this direction. When you have that little bit of bend there, you can just. This works the same thing, but more from the other side a little bit more. So work this leg, brace the other leg, and we'll just do just this side. So we'll go, or then we'll add to it as we go. That makes sense. So same thing, but just the other side. But we'll start with the basic like we did in the beginning. We'll build on it a little quicker though, but just. Okay. The main thing is really get used to bracing with the other side, which is kind of hard. Well, for me anyway. Whenever I push something, I push it this way. So this side's weird, you know. Just. And then you can let rock back a little bit. Rock back, then you can come back. Once again, remember to keep bracing with that back leg before you do the pivot. Brace, brace. But just do it slowly, kind of transition smoothly. Yeah, it's awkward on that side. Yeah, I guess that's a pivot I don't really do too much of. I usually go the other way from southpaw. It makes way more sense to pivot the other way to my left hook than into my right. I mean, my right hook instead of my straight left. So that's same idea, but we'll go to the other way, which is a lot simpler, which is from southpaw, but you're going to pivot this way. Raise, raise. Raise. I was wondering if this was a part of the app. So does that make sense?
Hello?
Pivot, and then go the other way, and make sure to work on a big waist movement. So brace the back leg, you crash in, big waist movement. It's way simpler because you ain't got to worry about the front leg pigeon toeing. Then when you go the other way, it's easy. And actually try to, unlike what I did there, try to make it 2 parts. Pivot, then that's it. Pivot, then that over. Later on, you put it all together. But first, try to break it up. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So just. Oh, I'm sorry. So go ahead. Let me start that over again. All right. And time. All right. Stop. Land. And get as much torque out of the waist as you can. So see what you can do with the waist being detached. You just do this, like this, right? Which is better than nothing, right? But if you add the waist to it and pushing into the legs and all that stuff, it looks a little different, right? Because then you're going. Right, each little turn of the waist has a lot of power. So you get a lot of power when you're pivoting. Do it right. But you're still real natural. So I was saying just break it up and go pivot, then turn. And when you feel all that together, it's real easy to just put it together when you get comfortable with it. Land here, but you still have all that turn. You can always repivot, do the same move over, like you're going, especially with these inside hooks, where you go here, do it again. So you can just stay till a person's outside, like constantly closing, trying to turn them while you're going this way, or turn them this way as you're going that way. We're going this one, sorry. Sorry. Turn, step. Get the waist to do that. So you're winding up your legs. See the difference like there, I rushed it, and I don't really have any power. It's something I have to constantly remind myself too as I'm doing this, because it's so easy to, well, especially from a southpaw position, but it's so easy to do this, and see I'm like already in a funny position. I have to fix it before I can do anything. As opposed to just when you pivot, you just kind of land, almost like someone pushes you. Like so if you're walking and someone pushes you from the back, hopefully what happens is you kind of, so you're gonna get pushed into a spot, right? Well, that spot where you get pushed into is actually the best place. Usually that's just where you want to go. And then that's where you react from. Right? But the pun was that when excuse me. When you do those pivots, it's like you crash into the person. You don't, even though it's an imaginary person right now, but it doesn't matter. It's it's like you pivot, or they turn you, and then the foot kind of follows. I mean, that should be ready, otherwise you'll be stuck and you'll go over, right? But it's like they turn you like a revolving door, right? And that's when you get behind them. The foot just goes and it lands wherever it's gonna land is where it lands. You don't worry about like this degree or that degree, or you just wherever it goes, and then you go from there. Right? But if you take your time, you know, you can land before you even turn or anything, right? You land. Now you can use your waist to kind of engage there. So that way you can use your waist to pull them in while at the same time you're winding up. Pulling them in one side, you're winding up here. Yeah. Just want to constantly do that. Anyways, when you go slow is when you can work that stuff. You can't really work that stuff when you're going fast until it's already kind of built in a little. So here's where we're building it. All right, so anyways, same idea. Let's we didn't really do anything from the back leg. Let's yeah, that idea. You know, we've been doing all front leg pivots, okay, on both sides, which is good because we don't work those enough. I guess we usually work the back leg. But now let's work from the back foot. You brace, but you're just doing this. Now, as you do that, as they're pushing you either over here or they're pushing you over here, they you use the you kind of keep the hands back and delay. So you step, you're delaying, then it catches up. Same thing here. You're delaying, then it catches up. So you're doing this. You know, that makes sense. You're doing like a delay with the upper body.
Yep.
All right, cool. All right, so let's work that back leg, and make sure you feel the like a brace, like someone's trying to push you over. Right? No matter which way they push you, they're going to end up pushing you either this way or this way. The foot just goes about a foot, 6 inches. You can even use just a few inches sometimes with the front foot. Sometimes it goes more, but a lot of times you can just barely go a few inches. We'll get you a few inches right here with this step. We'll get you a lot more extra turn here. Right? But of course, you can go more. Once again, it's kind of like someone's pushing. Wherever they end up pushing you is where you go. And then you follow. Just follow with one for now, kind of a delay. Make sure the hip goes first. You're still holding this back when the hip goes, then you let it go. All right, so you're, imagine they're pushing in the back leg, pushing in the back leg. You can either go here. It's kind of an awkward one, but it's a nice punch. You know, you've been jabbing somebody and they're doing this thing. Straight from the hip. Or they push you over here. But actually, don't even do the punch part. Just here. Oh, I know, but for a better analogy, I should have said, whatever I was trying to explain, is like if you have some bungee cords here that are being holding you back this way, and you have to get the hip in before you push the bungee cord. Right. Make sure to do this too, the thing where you trap them, off of the front leg. I mean, back legs here. The back legs engaged the whole time, holding them back. Same thing, back leg, but southpaw. Actually, do we have time for that one? Let's see.
5 minutes.
5 minutes? Oh, perfect. So, yeah, last one. It's funny. A lot of this is just putting basics together, but it's funny if you have a lot of different basics, a lot of different windows into how to do the basics. There's like an endless amount of ways to put them together. Yeah. But anyways, same idea. Other side. Once again, someone's pushing onto the back leg. You're kind of wrestling with someone, but not wrestling with them. But I mean, you're dealing with somebody wrestling with you and grappling, and you're doing that. Kind of. It's really the leg. Wherever the leg lands, you kind of just let it drop. In this sort of time. And once again, also keep in order to think of you having bungee cords pulling you back here with your hands. So in order to get any power, you have to put the hip first, or rather, get the other hip out of the way. It should work the hell out of this leg here. Remember, you're holding somebody back. You're holding somebody back with your legs, but you're holding the bungee cords back this way with your arms. The leg being much more important. Let's feel my back leg. Let me see what's.
Gonna stop now at 6:30.
Oh, it's 6:30 now? Oh, okay. You guys have a good one.
Thanks, you too. Thanks, Jamal. Bye, Talia.
Did y'all feel that in the legs?
Yeah.
But did that help, like picturing holding somebody?
Mhm.
Resting somebody the whole time? But just resting with just all the power in the leg, just, you know?
Mhm.
Cool, cool.
Jamal.
All right, have a good one.
Thanks, you too. Bye.
Bye-bye. Yeah.